We're back today with some fun and crazy theories about Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Now, this movie, and I hope you have all anticipated, is going to be extremely important moving forward in the MCU, as I believe that it is in this movie we will be getting the main moving point, focus point, and groundwork for the future of the MCU as we prepare for the end of Phase 4, Phase 5, and even Phase 6. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is going to really show us and illuminate how the multiverse is going to further affect events happening in future MCU events. This is part 3 of a fun rumors and theory video segment that we are doing here on the channel. I'll put links to part 1 and part 2 up in the top right corner right now, so if you haven't, feel free to check them out as we are continuing to elaborate on a bunch of fun and crazy rumors and theories that are currently going around and are sparking a lot of interest as possibilities of events that can happen in this film. Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to Cosmic Culture, the channel where we talk about all major movie and television news, theories, breakdowns, and much more. I'm your host Chris, and if you haven't already, consider subscribing to the channel and turning on that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of our daily uploads. Also, what's the craziest Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness theory or rumor that you've heard? Let me know in the comment section down below. They're getting rather wild as the multiverse really does open up an opportunity for anything to happen, including today's theory that we will be talking about the introduction or reintroduction of Iron Man from a different multiverse who will not be played by the beloved Robert Downey Jr. Now, it's very possible and likely that you've heard this rumor, as it's been a fan favorite to get another version of Iron Man showing up somewhere in the multiverse of the MCU. We know there are other multiverses, we know there are other Iron Men, and it's a lot of fun since everybody's been saying Tom Cruise because he was originally one of the actors who might have been playing the character instead of Robert Downey Jr. So it's a really fun world twist, multiversal twist. What if Tom Cruise really played Robert Downey Jr.'s role of Iron Man? And we're going to get to see that, but there is this little theory going around that I do want to go over, and it talks about the Iron Legion timeline. So let's cover that. It says Strange and Chavez end up in a timeline where Tony Stark puts a suit of armor around the world, and Chris Evans does briefly appear as President Steve Rogers in this universe. Tony Stark is not played by RDJ, but in a funny reveal, it's Tom Cruise. This version of Tony is a little insane. Not only does he claim to be a prophet, but he actually has 3 of the Infinity Stones. The way he is introduced mirrors Green Goblin's scene in Spider-Man 1, with Tom Cruise talking about the decapitated Thanos of his world. So we start to get the idea of what it would be like to see a different Iron Man who is specifically played by somebody who almost played the character in real life, who would have been the main MCU timeline Iron Man. Now, personally, I don't see anybody else ever doing a better serious role of Iron Man than he himself, Robert Downey Jr., and quite frankly, I don't want to see Robert Downey Jr. make a return as some type of crazy cameo. So I'm glad if they're going to go to a world where Iron Man has put his protective suit around the world and is a little bit eccentric and crazy, I'm glad it isn't RDJ, but in fact, Tom Cruise. Now, the actual legitimacy of this rumor is kind of hard to put your thumb on. Why? Well, because there are conflicting sources out there who are saying that Tom Cruise will not be showing up as Iron Man, and then there are others who are saying, nope, this is actually going to be happening. So as far as actual seriousness for this one specifically, I can't say. However, following the insane events of Spider-Man No Way Home, which brought multiple characters back from past timelines into the main MCU, hanging out with Tom Holland, it was a crazy experience, and honestly, it has for sure convinced me anything truly is possible in Multiverse of Madness, which is why all of these insane rumors are getting out of hand, because really the possibilities of what Marvel Studios can do, what they are capable of, all the way from Hugh Jackman or Patrick Stewart showing up to Tom Cruise playing an alternate version of Iron Man, all of these are realistic possibilities. It would seem to be so far-fetched if this was pre-No Way Home, when we saw Andrew and Tobey make it back to the big screen alongside each other with Tom Holland in the MCU Sacred Timeline. So this seemingly crazy far-fetched idea, yeah, why would Marvel ever make a joke about Tom Cruise not playing Iron Man? It's an absolute possibility, and I would almost even dare to say an expectation of the fans to see Tom Cruise. There would be probably some disappointment if we aren't getting this level of caliber as far as the cameos are really concerned. Now, we've talked about this at length during part 1 and part 2 of this cool rumor series we're doing, but there are a ton of names from John Krasinski to Hugh Jackman, Patrick Stewart, and several others who are rumored to be making cameo appearances in Multiverse of Madness. This one specifically about the Iron Legion timeline where Captain America is president and Iron Man has managed to put his armor around the world. It shows a version of the Avengers as what really would have happened if the Avengers had their way. If Captain America finally became this figure in America that led to him becoming the president, and Iron Man was able to defend the planet Earth the way he saw fit. It really is an interesting concept, an interesting theory, and I think it would be a ton of fun to see on screen, even if it is for just a brief moment, which is what seemingly most of these cameos are going to be. Very brief. Oh look, here's John Krasinski playing Fantastic Four. Oh look, here's Hugh Jackman, he's behind this portal, and it was an accident. Let's close this portal and go to where we're trying to go. It seems like as they navigate the multiverse, they're going to be able to find these different cameos, almost like I Spy. So overall, I think it's going to be a very, very fun experiment, and Multiverse of Madness, more than any other movie that Marvel is doing, is the perfect place to throw in all of these crazy cameos. As this rumor goes on to say, it is interesting that they talk about him having 3 Infinity Stones, and I am curious what exactly he's using those for, and if they have any reason why Tom Cruise's Iron Man is a little bit insane, as this rumor also lays out. There is a final part of this rumor that says Tom really gives it his all for his brief screen time. So this part does intrigue me a little bit, as it seems that this rumor is coming from somebody who has seen a pre-screening of Doctor Strange and is describing the moment of the Iron Legion timeline. And they say that Tom Cruise as Iron Man does a fantastic job for his little screen time. So not a whole lot, but enough to get us really excited to feel the impact of a world where the Earth was actually covered in a suit of armor. But I'm curious, for those of you who waited till the end of the video, what do you think? Would you like to see the Iron Legion timeline, where Steve Rogers is president, where Iron Man is played by Tom Cruise and has multiple different Infinity Stones, and maybe is a little on the insane side? Personally, this would be a fine addition for me in the film if it ends up being there. Thank you to all of you who have watched till the very end of the video. As always, if you found it helpful, interesting, or useful, consider subscribing, turning on that notification bell, and I'll catch all of you in the next episode right here on Cosmic Culture.